You're not going to believe what just went down backstage at WWE headquarters. Adam Pearce just made a decision that has the entire wrestling world absolutely losing their minds right now, and I'm telling you, this is the kind of controversy that's going to have people talking for months. Raquel Rodriguez, one of the most dominant forces in the women's division, has reportedly been fired after what's being called one of the most vicious and unprovoked attacks we've seen in years. And the victim? None other than Stephanie Vaquer, the rising star who was just starting to make her mark. But here's where it gets absolutely insane. There are layers to this story that WWE doesn't want you to know about, and by the end of this video, you're going to understand why this decision might be the biggest mistake Adam Pearce has ever made. Smash that like button right now if you think WWE is making the wrong call here, and subscribe because we're about to expose everything the mainstream wrestling media is afraid to tell you. Let me paint you the full picture of what allegedly happened, because the reports coming out are absolutely wild. According to multiple sources within WWE, Raquel Rodriguez completely snapped on Stephanie Vaquer in what witnesses are describing as an absolutely brutal backstage assault. We're talking about an attack so severe that medical personnel had to be called immediately. Stephanie Vaquer, who many of you know just signed with WWE and has been generating incredible buzz with her in-ring work, was reportedly blindsided in the women's locker room area. And here's what makes this even more shocking: there was apparently no warning, no confrontation beforehand, just pure, unfiltered aggression. Now, eyewitnesses claim that Raquel Rodriguez just walked up to Stephanie and immediately started throwing punches. We're hearing reports of Stephanie being thrown into equipment cases, possibly suffering injuries that could keep her out of action for weeks, maybe even months. The attack was so intense that multiple superstars had to physically pull Raquel off of Stephanie. Can you imagine the chaos? The screaming, the panic, the absolute shock of everyone who witnessed this go down? This wasn't a worked shoot, this wasn't part of some storyline, this was real, and it was violent. But here's where the story takes a turn that absolutely nobody saw coming. Within hours of this incident, Adam Pearce, WWE's official on-screen authority figure and one of the people making real backstage decisions, allegedly made the call to immediately terminate Raquel Rodriguez's contract. Fired. Just like that. No suspension, no investigation period, no cooling off time, just straight up gone from the company. And this is where I need you to pay very close attention, because this is where the story gets murky and controversial. Think about this for a second. WWE has a long history of backstage altercations. We've seen superstars get into legitimate fights, we've seen people throw punches, we've seen heated confrontations that got physical. Brock Lesnar and Braun Strowman reportedly had a backstage altercation years ago. There have been stories about locker room fights going back decades in this business. But how many times have we seen someone get immediately fired? How many times has WWE pulled the trigger this fast on releasing a talent after a backstage incident? Almost never. Usually, there's a suspension, there's an investigation, there's some kind of cooling off period where cooler heads prevail and decisions are made rationally. So why was Raquel Rodriguez treated differently? Why was the decision made so quickly? And here's the question that's going to make you absolutely furious: does this have anything to do with the fact that Stephanie Vaquer is WWE's newest acquisition, someone they just invested money in, someone they're clearly positioning as a future star? Are we looking at a situation where WWE is protecting their investment at the expense of someone who's been with the company, who's paid their dues, who's been loyal to the WWE brand? Let me give you some context about Raquel Rodriguez that makes this whole situation even more complicated. This woman is a powerhouse. She's been part of some of the most physical matches in recent memory. She's worked her way up from NXT, she's been a tag team champion, she's consistently put her body on the line for this company. Raquel Rodriguez is not someone with a history of causing problems. She's not someone who's known for being difficult to work with. By all accounts, she's been a professional, she's been dedicated, and she's been someone WWE could count on. So what changed? What could have possibly pushed someone like Raquel Rodriguez to this breaking point? And this is where we need to talk about the rumors that are circulating right now, the whispers that are coming from people within WWE who are speaking on condition of anonymity because they're afraid of losing their jobs. There are reports, and I want to be clear, these are unconfirmed but coming from usually reliable sources, that there's been backstage heat between Raquel Rodriguez and Stephanie Vaquer for weeks. Some people are saying that Stephanie Vaquer, being the new talent, was getting opportunities that Raquel felt she had earned. There's talk about creative plans being changed, about matches being given to Stephanie that were originally promised to Raquel. There's even speculation about personal issues, about comments that were made, about disrespect that was shown. Now, does any of that justify a physical attack? Absolutely not. Violence is never the answer, and if Raquel Rodriguez did indeed attack Stephanie Vaquer unprovoked, there need to be consequences. But here's my problem with how WWE handled this. Where's the due process? Where's the investigation into what led to this moment? Where's the conversation about what's been happening backstage that created an environment where someone felt pushed to this extreme? Adam Pearce making this decision to fire Raquel Rodriguez immediately sends a message, and that message is crystal clear: new talent is more valuable than loyalty. New talent is more protected than people who've been here putting in the work. And that's a dangerous precedent to set in a locker room. You're telling every wrestler in that company right now that if you have a problem with one of WWE's pet projects, if you have an issue with someone management is high on, you will be the one who pays the price, regardless of the circumstances. Let's talk about Stephanie Vaquer for a minute, because she's at the center of this storm whether she wanted to be or not. Stephanie is incredibly talented, nobody's disputing that. She's got an impressive resume from her work in other promotions, she's got a unique style, and WWE clearly sees money in her. But she's also new. She hasn't been in the WWE system long enough to understand the politics, the hierarchy, the unwritten rules that exist in every wrestling locker room. Is it possible that Stephanie, perhaps unintentionally, did something or said something that was perceived as disrespectful by the veterans in that locker room? Is it possible that WWE's push of Stephanie was creating resentment among people who felt they deserved those same opportunities? Again, none of this justifies violence. But it does provide context that makes Adam Pearce's immediate firing of Raquel Rodriguez seem incredibly short-sighted and potentially unfair. A good leader, a good authority figure, would have taken the time to understand the full situation before making such a drastic decision. Instead, it looks like Adam Pearce made a reactionary choice designed to protect WWE's newest investment without considering the broader implications. Here's another angle that's absolutely infuriating: the double standard. We've seen male superstars get into legitimate backstage fights and receive suspensions, fines, maybe a stern talking to, but not immediate termination. We've seen people keep their jobs after DUI arrests, after wellness policy violations, after all kinds of incidents that could be considered worse than a backstage altercation. Yet Raquel Rodriguez gets fired immediately? The optics of this are terrible for WWE, and it raises serious questions about consistency in how they handle disciplinary issues. And let's address the elephant in the room: Adam Pearce's role in all of this. As someone who's been in the wrestling business for decades, as someone who's worked his way up from the independents, as someone who understands locker room culture, how could Adam Pearce make this decision so quickly? Was he under pressure from higher UPS? Was this decision made for him and he's just the face of it? Or did he genuinely believe that immediate termination was the appropriate response? Because from where I'm sitting, this looks like either incompetence or cowardice, and neither is a good look for someone in a leadership position. The wrestling community is divided on this right now. Social media is absolutely exploding with opinions. You've got people saying Raquel Rodriguez deserves to be fired for putting her hands on another performer. You've got people saying WWE is protecting Stephanie Vaquer at all costs because she's their new toy. You've got people calling for a full investigation. You've got people demanding that Raquel Rodriguez be given a chance to tell her side of the story publicly. And you've got people saying that Adam Pearce should be removed from his position for making such a rash decision. What's your take on this? Do you think Raquel Rodriguez deserves to be fired? Do you think there's more to the story that we're not hearing? Do you think Adam Pearce made the right call, or do you think this is a massive overreaction? Drop your comments below right now, because I want to hear what the Pro Wrestling Alert community thinks about this absolutely insane situation. But here's what I think is going to happen next, and this is where things could get even more controversial. If Raquel Rodriguez was indeed fired, you know she's not going to stay quiet about this. You know there's going to be a response, whether that's through social media, through interviews, or through legal action. And when Raquel tells her side of the story, when she reveals what actually happened, what led to this moment, what's been going on backstage, that's when the real fallout begins. That's when we're going to find out if Adam Pearce made the right decision or if he just made the biggest mistake of his career. And what about Stephanie Vaquer? How does she move forward from this? Does she continue her WWE run with the shadow of this incident hanging over her? Does the locker room view her differently now? Will other veterans in the women's division be resentful of how this was handled? This situation has the potential to create a toxic environment in that locker room, and that's on WWE management for how they handled it. If you've watched this far, you're exactly the kind of passionate wrestling fan we want in the Pro Wrestling Alert community. Hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications because we're going to be covering every single development in this story as it unfolds. Like this video if you think there's more to this story than what WWE is telling us. And share this video with every wrestling fan you know because they need to hear about this controversy. The firing of Raquel Rodriguez by Adam Pearce after the alleged attack on Stephanie Vaquer is going to be remembered as one of the most controversial decisions in recent WWE history. Whether you agree with it or not, whether you think it was justified or not, you can't deny that this story is explosive and the ramifications are going to be felt for a long time. This is the kind of real-life wrestling drama that reminds us that behind the scripted entertainment, there are real people with real emotions dealing with real pressure. Stay tuned to Pro Wrestling Alert because we're going to bring you every update, every rumor, every development as this story continues to unfold. This is far from over, and you're going to want to be here for every single moment. I'll see you in the next video, and until then, keep the conversation going in the comments. What's your verdict on the Raquel Rodriguez firing? Let me know right now.